Now let's turn our attention to Russia. Tomorrow is the 24th of February, the two-year anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war. No side is close to winning it, but Moscow is celebrating. It recently scored a victory. It captured the Ukrainian city of Avdiivka. And this is significant. It gives momentum to Moscow. How will the West counter that? Through the old weapon that seldom works, and that's sanctions. The West is bringing in new sanctions supposedly to hurt Russia's war machine and punish President Vladimir Putin, both for the war and the death of his critic Alexei Navalny. He died in a Russian prison last week. Today, Biden met his family.
This morning I had the honor of meeting with Alexei Navalny's wife and daughter. As to state the obvious, he was a man of incredible courage. And it's amazing how his wife and daughter are emulating that. And we're going to be announcing the sanctions against Putin, who is responsible for his death, tomorrow.
The U.S. president has vowed to tighten the screws. Reports say that the U.S. alone is imposing sanctions on 500 targets. It adds to thousands of others already in place against Russia. Will these new sanctions finally change Putin's mind? Very unlikely. In fact, he seems to be doubling down in typical Putin style. Russian media has released new footage. Vladimir Putin in Top Gun mode, flying around in a nuclear-capable bomber. The dash cam shows him in the co-pilot seat. Take a look at this. He's in a Russian Tu-160M bomber. The aircraft can carry 12 nuclear missiles and travel a distance of 12,000 kilometers. NATO has codenamed them Blackjacks. Why is this a big deal, though? The optics are great, plus it shows Putin is fit and in control. So much for all the Western reports/rumors that emerge every once in a while suggesting that the Russian president is dying. Remember, Putin is 71 years old, no spring chicken, and yet he was in the co-pilot seat. Now, when you fly a jet like that, you need a certain level of physical fitness, heart health, blood pressure, the ability to withstand gravitational force or G-force that only professional fighter pilots are trained for. Putin was on this flight for about half an hour, which is quite a feat at the age of 71. His sortie proves that age has not gotten to him yet. He's still maintaining his strongman image. Putin has leaned on this image regularly in the past. Pictures of him on horseback, of him practicing taekwondo, or of him in the wild in fatigues. The media regularly pushes these images, reinforcing his macho persona, pitting him against the seemingly softer leaders from the West. Putin seemed to be taking on the West yesterday too. Listen to what he said after the flight.
The machine is excellent. It is truly of a new generation. As I told the commander of the aircraft, and now I will say it again, and to the leadership of the Ministry of Defense. Of course, it can be accepted into the armed forces.
So the West is talking about sanctions. Putin is talking about adding more nuclear bombers to his arsenal, and doing that after flying in one of the jets. It's a clear shot at his adversaries and some posturing for his domestic audience as well. Putin does have an election coming up after all. It doesn't hurt to look tough, even if there's no real opposition. After his Top Gun moment, Putin continued with the showmanship. He drove a Russian-made Kamaz truck. Again, Putin putting emphasis on the strongman persona. Was this a shot at US President Joe Biden, known more for his bicycle rides or for stumbling while climbing stairs? Biden is 81. He has a decade on Putin. Putin was also once a part of the KGB, the Russian Secret Service. Biden did not get that kind of training in his youth, so it's not exactly a fair comparison, but this comparison will be made because they are adversaries, leaders of their respective countries, and often in news for targeting each other. Yesterday, Biden called Putin a crazy SOB. Now, Putin has responded. Listen to this.
Listen, we talked not long ago, and you asked who would be preferred as the future president of the United States. I said that we would work with any president, but I suppose that for us, for Russia, Biden is more preferable. Judging by what he has said, I was absolutely right, because this was an adequate reaction to what I had said. Why? Because he cannot say, Volodya, you are a good man. You've helped me a lot. We understand what is going on there in terms of politics, and that reaction is absolutely adequate. This means that I was right. What I said was for our audience first and foremost, not for Americans. You are a Russian journalist after all, and you asked what was better for us. So I told you then, and I can confirm and repeat it now. Biden is better.
Putin said Biden's reaction was absolutely adequate and that it proved that Biden was better for Russia. That has to sting. Will Biden's new sanctions return the favor, or will Vladimir Putin keep frustrating the West and flying rings around them? We'll have to wait and see.